Gentlemen, overall, Floyd Mayweather went out there, did what he does, and that is keep his record intact. Now looking ahead towards the future for Floyd. Dan, what is next? There's possible talk about Floyd and maybe on Amir Khan, depending on what happens with Khan, maybe a Keith one-time Thurman. But the fight that everyone would love to see, naturally, is Manny Pacquiao.
Obviously, it's the fight we've wanted to see for like 4 years. I've lost track, frankly, of how many years we've wanted to see this fight. I've wasted countless hours of phone calls and writing and research and discussion and debate and will they or won't they. And if I had a buck for every time somebody asked me, or Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather going to fight, I probably wouldn't be sitting with you guys. I'd be on a beach somewhere having a drink with an umbrella in it. But the bottom line is both of these guys they don't have anybody else to fight. Pacquiao's fighting Chris Algieri. You know why he's fighting Chris Algieri? Because there's nobody else for him to fight. It's not a fight that the public demands whatsoever. And now you have Floyd Mayweather come off this victory. You know, he could fight Khan, possibly. It would be a decent fight, I suppose. He could fight a Danny Garcia, a Keith Thurman. But again, these are good fighters, but they are not the kind of opponents who are going to get the masses pumped. It's only Pacquiao. And, you know, I just don't know if it's going to happen. I hope it does, like I have since day one when they started to discuss it. Pacquiao has to win the November 22nd fight in China. And as Floyd said in the ring after the fight with Maidana, if the fight presents itself, you know, they can talk about it. But we've heard that before. But I kind of, in the way that he said the quotes, it seemed like he left a little bit more opening maybe than there had been in the past. You know, when he sees the pay-per-view numbers come back on this Maidana rematch, which I think will do much less than the first one, which was, you know, a little like 850,000. For most guys, that's a great number. For Floyd, that would be really bad. So it's obvious. And the other thing, by the way, Showtime and HBO, who have those two fighters under contract, according to Bob Arum, who's Pacquiao's promoter, he says the networks are willing to work together on a deal. They've done it before in 2002 on the Tyson-Lewis fight. Maybe they can do it again on a fight like this.
Brian, is this all speculation? We hear that both sides are kind of stating that they have no problem with working with one another. But when it all boils down to it and they sit at the table, can it possibly transpire?
I don't really think it's that easy because there's that beef that has really been the problem for so long. The same beef that really kind of created this Cold War that we had in recent years with Top Rank and Golden Boy. Now that sort of Cold War element has shifted more with Al Heyman against Top Rank. Until that hurdle is cleared, I think it's hard to really get excited or to see that. I mean, obviously there's so much money involved and at stake, but there's been so much money at stake for 5 years, 5.5 years.
I'm going to say another thing also. It's all going to be up to Floyd. Is he going to be willing to work with Arum? Arum just signed Pacquiao not that long ago to a contract extension that takes him through like 2016. So that fight's going to happen with Bob, or it's not going to happen.
But the key thing that you mentioned earlier is the pay-per-view numbers in my mind, because we know how competitive Floyd is. And when he signed the Showtime deal, it was an underachieving pay-per-view performance with Guerrero. I think Canelo's the outlier that you pull out. The first Maidana fight didn't stand up to it, and I don't think this rematch is going to be a big one as well. I think that has always been the thing in the back of my mind that would drive Floyd to sort of say, okay, I'll do what I have to do to make it, because he's competitive in this space. He's the money man. He doesn't want to see 700,000 buys and the thought process that maybe his brand is taking a hit. We know the customers are fatigued at this point.
But one thing also that's important is, even if he decides that he doesn't want to do that, he has 2 more fights left that are guaranteed, and they're going to pay him probably in the $30 million neighborhood regardless of who he fights.
Well, we don't know what's going to go on with Floyd Mayweather. Let's talk about Marcos Maidana, who's fallen for the second time this year to Floyd Mayweather. What happens next with El Chino Bryan? Who does he fight next? Who might possibly be on the books for Marcos Maidana?
Clearly, he's got to be frustrated by this loss after coming so close that first fight, but I think he's in an excellent spot. He's really, for my money, in the absolute prime of his career. We used to know him as this rugged brawler. He obviously still shows those tendencies, but now he has 2 times at the pay-per-view level. He's refined himself under Robert Garcia in certain ways that I think allows him to compete in this upper echelon where maybe a few years ago we didn't think he could compete in this space. So I think right now, considering how many names there are with Al Heyman and Golden Boy, I think there's a lot of great fights you can make with him in a great spot. He's going to make a lot of money and he's going to come through because he doesn't know how to make a bad fight.
Finally, Dan, were you surprised at how easygoing Floyd was just throughout the entire weekend? Even with his ring walk and entrance tonight, he didn't have Justin Bieber, none of the flash and the circus that surrounded him. Very focused, dedicated to win in like another night at the office. No theatrics with Floyd, a little bit in the ring against Maidana tonight. But other than that, he just seemed very calm, cool, collected, and went about his business.
That's what he was. And I was disappointed there was no Justin Bieber, who's following me on Twitter now, by the way.
Look at you.
Amazing.
Oh, my.
But I was not totally shocked because he was a subdued kind of guy pretty much throughout the promotion, or really I guess mainly in fight week. Had a lot of stuff going on in his life outside of the ring. But like you said, Ray, another day at the office for Floyd Mayweather Jr. He's done this so many times. And as we talked about before the fight, the way that it went, I was not shocked at all. I was the one that sat up here and said not only is Mayweather going to win the fight in the rematch, but he's going to do it a lot easier than he did the first time. And I think we can all agree that's exactly what happened.
Well, we'll certainly see what happens next with Floyd Money Mayweather. He improves to 47-0, remaining undefeated here in Las Vegas. On behalf of Brian Campbell from ESPN.com and the newest member of the Justin Bieber clan, Dan Rafael, who happens to be followed by Justin Bieber on Twitter, I'm Ray Flores. Wrap it up here in Las Vegas, making the rounds on ESPN.com.